And now, my friends, will you walk with me through the valley of the shadow of death? Because believe it or not, there are two films I despise more than N64 Toad's Turnpike Battle Mode on the Wii U. Genuinely, these are two of the worst abominations that have ever been unleashed into this world. And I knew going in that these would be the bottom two. Like, you might think, oh, this is gonna be such a hard video. And it was, for the most part. But I knew nothing compared to these two movies that go so far beyond the moniker of cinematic disaster. They are irredeemable. They are demonic. Let's get right into the runner-up for the worst thing I've ever watched for this channel. Friends, before we continue on, I just wanted to thank you all for joining me on this despair-filled, torturous journey. I appreciate you standing by me as I confront all of my demons that have been haunting me for years now. We're almost through to the other side, but before we can get there, we have to endure the absolute lowest of the low. The two films that managed to transcend abyss fiction through their sheer awfulness. Without further ado, the runner-up for the worst thing I have ever ranked last place in any of my videos is Hop. Illumination as a studio is really not that bad on average. Their movies are white noise, offering very little to actually get offended by when it comes to their quality, or lack thereof. Hop is something else entirely. Hop is as if Satan and Genghis Khan had a baby, who was then baptized by Jeffrey Dahmer, raised by Charles Manson, babysat by Ted Bundy, taught by Benito Mussolini, fell in love with Quercus Alba, and then unleashed onto a wholly unprepared world who had not an inkling of the horrors that lay within. This is an unconscionable stain on the art of filmmaking and the human race as a whole. And I'm not even going to explain why. Just watch the segment on it in my Illumination ranking. I don't have it in me to relive its horrors.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not.
You'd think that a movie this heinous and devoid of anything good would have been a shoo-in for the bottom spot to end all bottom spots. But no, it's not. You might have assumed that I had a difficult time determining what the absolute worst thing I've ever covered in a ranking video could possibly be. But I'm gonna be perfectly frank, it wasn't even a contest. I knew immediately that nothing was going to top this. For all of its malaise and malice, for all the ways I thoroughly loathe it beyond all capacity for rational thought, I can give Hop this one thing. It is indeed a movie. You cannot say this about the bottom spot on this list. The most depraved abomination to ever spawn out of a film studio. A vile creation so bad that I don't even think G tier accurately captures my thoughts and feelings. This shit belongs in H tier. If ever there was anything on the planet that I would give a 0 out of 10 score to, this would be it. I am speaking, of course, about the one and only Surf's Up to Wavemania. Like I said, this was one of the easiest decisions of my life. This pandering piece of WWE corporate slop literally only exists to suck the metaphorical dicks of these real-life wrestlers. In doing so, Sony zombified the Surf's Up IP, not only not desiring to continue the first film's story for any artistic reasons, but amazingly, not even serving as a cash grab meant to appeal to the original film's fans. This is a Surf's Up movie solely because Sony picked the original film off the shelf, said, "Hey, this is about surfing, which is a sport, so having the WWE in this world is perfect." And then going from there. It was made for absolutely nobody except WWE shareholders and the ego of Vince McMahon. Let me put it to you this way. At least Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate was conceived, greenlit, and written with the intent to appeal to Megamind fans. They went about it very poorly, but at least it inarguably was meant to expand the Megamind series first and foremost. Surf's Up 2 is not the same thing. Not by a long shot. You do not know true pain, true fury, true despair until you attempt to endure even 1 minute of this abhorrent nightmare. It is beyond irredeemable, and by far the worst thing I've ever been forced to endure for this channel. Let me put it to you another way, in fact. Artemis Fowl is my least favorite movie of all time, mainly because of how thoroughly it butchers a book I have fond, nostalgic memories of, on top of how unpleasant, incompetent, and unengaging it is by its own merits. Yes, I do consider it to be my least favorite film. But from a quality perspective, objectively speaking, Surf's Up 2 is worse. Way worse, in fact. Genuinely, it's impossible for me to come up with something that even compares to its sheer awfulness. I guess some of the homemade movies I watch with my friends on Tubi are technically worse, but they come from an endearing place of misguided but admirable passion, on top of having some funny moments. I had a severe allergic reaction to how horrible Nuki was, but I wouldn't trade the memory of watching it for the first time with my friends for anything in the world. Nothing Surf's Up 2 Wavemania has ever done or will ever do will ever inspire a single positive feeling in me. I can joke around with my friends about how bizarre and offensive Hop is. And I can appreciate the fact that I'm suffering together with someone playing the Wii U battle mode in Mario Kart 8 with me. The same is not true for Surf's Up 2. It is everything wrong with the entertainment industry and then some. I loathe it more than words could possibly express. It is my greatest foe. That one vile creature I will never shake the sight of for as long as I live. It has permanently ruined my life, and it didn't even provide me the courtesy of being hilariously bad and memorable. It added nothing to my life. It only took away. That's all it does. It just takes and takes and takes until you have nothing left. No reason to keep going except for the vague promise that if you get through this blight on society as we know it, then you'll finally get to watch Spider-Verse at the end of this ranking video. Was it worth it? No, it really wasn't. I hate Surf's Up 2 more than I love Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. My heart is blackened, filled with nothing but hatred for this pandering piece of corporate slop. I will never truly be content knowing evil such as this exists in the world. All I know is pain and suffering. And this would not be the case had it not been for Surf's Up 2. The worst thing I've ever ranked. Oh my god, my voice! I'm dying! Well, that was an exhausting ordeal.